Hello friends, Tom Downey here for NFL Daily. Roster cuts are coming up very quickly around the NFL, and that means trades are going to happen as well. So we're going to take you through 7 notable players who could be traded before the regular season begins. Emphasis on the notable. Nobody cares except Eagles and Cardinals fans that Bruce Hector got traded. That's not really that big of a deal in the end. We're focused in on the players you've heard of, even if you're not a fan of that team, that could get dealt, although of course not all of them will be. But we begin with our first player, Jadeveon Clowney, who, look, the rumors aren't going away anytime soon, but I do want to make note, before we even dive in too much here, because you guys know by now the Texans are shopping him, and he hasn't signed the franchise tag, and there have been trade rumors everywhere. The Texans botched this. Like, they messed up. They did not maximize their trade value for Clowney, and I think their GM chaos from when they had one to now messed it up. Clowney's been a good player in the NFL his past 4 years, despite some injuries. Look at the tackle for loss and sack numbers the past two years. That level of consistency, call it 17 tackles for loss and about 9 sacks, that's really good. The problem is not about the talent, that even if you trade for Clowney, you cannot re-sign him right now. That is the way the NFL works with their franchise tags. He has to play out this year under the tag. So you can work out a hush-hush, we agree, but not really. We can't announce it, officially. But if he gets injured, maybe that changes. Or if he says, you know what, I'm going to leave anyway, that gets concerning. So that definitely drives down Clowney's price, because the reality is you're only getting 1 year of him guaranteed. So 2 different trade packages I have. One that's a little bit more normal, and then I got weird with one of them, because what's the fun otherwise? The Buffalo Bills, who I've linked to Clowney before. Shaq Lawson and a 2020 third-round pick. Again, these are different packages we put together on previous shows, because we're keeping things different here for you guys. Lawson can give you some depth right now. And a third-round pick, it ends up being more than what Houston would get in the compensatory process. I picked that third-round pick. That's the minimum Houston is asking for in any trade for Clowney. So just keep that in mind. Now, the weird one, and it might be too much, Eagles fans. Let me know if you think that's the case. But Philly is aggressive, and I like that about them. The Houston Texans give up Clowney, of course. They get back Jason Peters to be their new left tackle and Josh Adams to help them out at the running back spot. It's only a year or two of Peters because he is older, but he's better than Julian Davenport. And they need some left tackle, because I'll tell you what, Matt Khalil, he's not it. It's aggressive, but Philadelphia can bring in Clowney for a year, get a third-round pick back in the comp process, and just start Andre Dillard at left tackle. Now let me know in the comments section, guys and girls, what team should trade for Clowney? What team out there do you think should be doing everything they can to land Clowney in a trade? Let me know in the comments section. I don't think Philadelphia needs Clowney, but they are the aggressive type of team that should have some interest in him as well. Heck, maybe the Rams could get crazy. They've done that before as well, at least tried to with Khalil Mack. Next up, Trent Williams. We will stick with our theme of players everybody knows is on the trade block right now. Or, well, the Redskins are claiming he's not on the trade block, but Trent Williams he's definitely available. He's not showing up to the Redskins camp because of what happened with his tumor on his head that frankly, it seems like the Redskins medical staff totally botched. Now, the Redskins claim they won't trade him. I think that's posturing, though, trying to keep his value as high as possible, because there has been a ton of interest around Trent Williams. So once again, 2 different trade packages here for Trent Williams, both of which I kind of like. Remember I mentioned Houston? They need a left tackle. If I ran the Texans, and I am available, guys, so feel free to call me. I almost said my phone number out loud. That would have been bad. The Redskins. The bosses did not like that I said I was available, too. I'm in trouble now. Anyway, the Redskins get a 2020 first-round pick back and Julian Davenport, so they can at least try him at left tackle. Maybe he works, maybe he doesn't, but it's better than starting someone like a Donald Penn or an Eric Flowers. Maybe you do start Donald Penn anyway, but at least try with somebody else. Next up, the Cleveland Browns. Again, a very similar package here, but I like this fit. Greg Robinson goes to the Redskins. They can try him for a year, a first-round pick. I like it. I think it makes sense for all parties involved there. So I think that makes a fun trade package here for the Redskins and for the Browns. And for the Redskins, frankly, they got to trade Trent. They have to do it. He doesn't want to be there. He is upset with the medical staff, which, by the way, for good reason. I mean, think about the injuries the Redskins have had of late. Just notable ones. Of course, there are other ones too here. Of course, Stuart Craven's made his comments about the medical staff, which, iffy source there. But Colt McCoy has been slow to recover from his own injury because of complications. We saw the Alex Smith stuff. We saw Darius Guice come back a little bit slower than expected. I'm not saying it's all the medical staff's fault, but where there is a pattern, oftentimes there is some connection. Just keep that in mind. I say trade him. All right, the Dallas Cowboys, they are next up here. How about Taco Charlton? He has impressed in the preseason. He's made some comments indicating that he knows he might not be in Dallas forever. And look, Dallas does have some pretty good defensive line depth. They could get by with trading a former first-round pick who, frankly, has been a little bit of a bust. Now, DeMarcus Lawrence has come back from injury, so too is Tyrone Crawford. Robert Quinn is at the first 2 games, but Dorrance Armstrong surpassed Taco this offseason and preseason. Kerry Hyder's looked pretty good as well, and they drafted Joe Jackson and Jalen Jelkson. Who knows what will happen with Randy Gregory? Now, make no mistake, the Cowboys are not selling high on Taco Charlton. Here's my proposed trade package. The Miami Dolphins come in and give a 2020 5th-round pick. We'll make it conditional, could drop down to a 6th if they cut him, or it could become a 4th if he plays really, really well. With all the teams out there, I think Miami makes a ton of sense for Taco Charlton because they got nothing at defensive end. Their starters right now, Charles Harris, Tank Carradine. The top backups are Nate Orchard and Jonathan Ledbetter. Mitchell thinks I made those people up. It's not in great shape for the Miami Dolphins defensive line depth chart, mostly at defensive end. So who says no to this trade package? Type C for the Cowboys, or give me a D for the Dolphins. Maybe Dallas wants to hold on to Taco a little bit longer, but if they can get a 5th-round pick back, I know it's not a lot. If he struggles again this year, they're not going to get much of anything for him after his 3rd season, entering his 4th season with the Cowboys. All right, let's go with another theme here as we move on from the super big names to names you've heard of but aren't going to fetch a lot in the trade market. First up is Carlos Hyde. There's growing buzz. Hyde's not going to make the team. Now, even if he doesn't make the team, I think someone picks him up. You can at least make him a useful part of your backfield rotation. He did not play week 3 of the preseason. That's not a good sign if you're the Chiefs and if you're Carlos Hyde. And look, maybe we're entering Trent Richardson territory. I know that's bad, but I said it because Hyde wasn't good last year. 3.3 yards per carry. The Jags traded for him and then barely used him. The Browns signed him and traded him. Maybe the Chiefs did the exact same thing. They have Damon Williams. They have Darwin Thompson. They have Damian Williams. They got all kinds of players out there in the backfield. Here's my proposed trade. Houston, you're being very active because you have already made one trade this offseason, and you got needs because of injuries. They get Carlos Hyde for a 2026 round pick, and it's doubly funny because it is now the 2018 Browns backfield all over again, minus Nick Chubb. Duke Johnson, Carlos Hyde, which I actually kind of don't hate. If you want to give Duke Johnson a breather, you bring Carlos Hyde in for more rundowns. Duke Johnson is your 3rd down back and really your lead back. Hyde becomes your backup. It's only a conditional 6th round pick, can drop to a 7th if Houston barely uses Carlos Hyde. But does Houston have to make the trade? That's the big question for me at least. Will Hyde make the Chiefs roster? Type Y for yes, N for no. I'm going to go with no. Either he's traded or he's cut by the Chiefs, which I did not anticipate even a couple of weeks ago. Let's get a quarterback in here. How about CJ Beathard? Jimmy Garoppolo has turnover issues, but he's going to make the team. Nick Mullins, clearly better than Beathard. It's very obvious to me that Mullins is just a better player right now in the NFL. Now, Kyle Shanahan said the Niners plan to keep 3 quarterbacks, but they are open to trade offers, a.k.a., hey, John's available, make us a call. There are several teams in the market for a back quarterback, like the Colts, but I'm not going to Indy for this one. I'm going to Denver, who, I will make note, happened to have the former Niners quarterback coach, Rich Scangarello, as their offensive coordinator. That would make it easier for Beathard to learn the offense. I got a 5th-round pick going to San Francisco. Conditional, can drop to a 6th or go up depending on playing time for Beathard. If he never plays, it's a 6th. There you go. But Drew Lock right now for Denver, out with a right thumb sprain. Don't know if you've ever sprained your thumb. Kind of tough to throw a football when your thumb is swollen and hurting and not really able to grip a ball. That makes it difficult. Kevin Hogan is your backup along with Brett Rippon, and I don't think Denver trusts those guys. So you bring in Beathard, a late-round pick. You get him for like 2 years. All of a sudden, that's actually decent return on a 6th-round pick. So for Denver, I saw a report that they called the Niners about a trade for a quarterback. I think it does make some sense here if the Niners and the Broncos can agree on the price tag. All right, guys, let me know who's paying attention. A, to me right now, and, of course, to Chat Sports. If you're part of the Noti gang, you got notifications turned on, type me in the comment section. Let me know who is paying attention, who has notifications turned on for all of our breaking news, all of our live videos, and our on-demand stuff here at Chat Sports. Again, just type me so I know if you're paying attention. All right, 2 receivers here for our last 2 players. One big bust, that is Laquon Treadwell. The Vikings, the report was he's available, and then the follow-up report was he's not available, he's being given away. It's like an everything must go sale, where it gets bought or it gets just thrown away altogether. He's not going to make this roster, I don't think. So the question becomes for Treadwell, will a team say, let's just try? Let's take a flyer on him anyway. It goes against their typical MO. What about the Cincinnati Bengals? They have a conditional 7th-round pick. If Treadwell plays in, let's say, more than 7 games or 8 games, whatever number you want it to be out there. The Bengals get Treadwell, which I'm actually kind of intrigued by because A.J. Green is hurt right now. Love me some Tyler Boyd. John Ross is a bust. I'll be honest, I almost made this John Ross for Treadwell straight up. Who says no? I almost made it that. Chose not to because I think the Bengals would say no. They like Alex Erickson. Damon Willis was an undrafted free agent who started week 3 of the preseason. Never happens. It's insane to me. Auden Tate fighting. Josh Malone fighting. Cody Core. Man, let's just try Laquon Treadwell. If it doesn't work out, oh no, it's a 7th-round pick. Those guys never hit anyway. Speaking of busts like Treadwell, who was your biggest NFL draft miss? Let me know in the comment section which player out there were you totally convinced was going to be a stud. And then after like 3 years, you're like, oh no, he's actually pretty bad. Obviously, I think everyone missed on Trent Richardson. I'm sure Raiders fans missed on Jamarcus Russell there. I will give you my name that was not a 1st-round pick. Coming out of Virginia Tech, and you Vikings fans know who I'm talking about, I loved Bucky Hodges. I thought he was going to be awesome. And then he just has done nothing at all in the NFL. The producers are yelling Teddy Bridgewater in my ear, but you're wrong. He's still a franchise quarterback. And that brings us to our next player, Josh Doctson. I'm kind of kidding on that last point about Teddy Bridgewater, by the way. There was the report that the Redskins had not only shopped Josh Doctson, but they've actually shopped him for the past 2 years, and he's reportedly fallen down the depth chart. With that said, I think that Dachshund still carries some value in a potential trade. And in particular, if the Redskins actually are shopping him, I actually really like this trade package. And I think both teams should definitely do it. How about the Seattle Seahawks, who are desperate for wide receiver help right now? Because it's not going well. All they give up, a conditional 6th-round pick. Tyler Lockett has been great last year and should be good again this year. I like DK Metcalf a lot. Problem is, he has a knee problem right now, and he might need a year or 2. And even if DK's healthy, they still need help. David Moore, decent young player, maybe even promising young player, out for at least a game, if not multiple, because of his own injury problems. Then it becomes Jaron Brown. He's a deep threat, okay. Could still use another bigger body out there if DK's hurt. Gary Jennings, okay, we're trying a 5th-round pick out of West Virginia. John Ursa can be your slot guy. Amaro Darbo is already a bust. I feel safe saying that out loud. I am sorry, Seattle and Michigan fans. Jazz Ferguson, super raw. Keenan Reynolds is a quarterback playing receiver. but who's also a running back playing receiver because he can't throw the football. You guys know who Keenan is, I'm sure. Why not do it? 6th round pick, he might be your 4th best receiver already. I think it's worth trying. So this brings me to my next question here, my final one here. Who would you rather have a receiver, Treadwell or Dachshund? I almost said straight up Dachshund for Treadwell, but I think the Redskins say no. So let me know in the comment section. Give me a 1 for Treadwell, a 2 for Dachshund. For me, it's a no-brainer. Give me Josh Doctson. Heck, I offer the 6th round pick for him. I would consider a 5th round pick for him in any trade.